Hey, hey. Who would have guessed that Canadians would be saving us all? I haven't done a video in quite some time. Just wanted to see how things would shake out. As of today, today would be the 19th, February 19th, Saturday. And the Freedom Convoys, remember guys, there's more than one. And yes, Ottawa, Trudeau has decreed a state of emergency. The Canadian version, the federal level state of emergency. And right as Parliament, their Parliament, was to debate and more than likely shut it down because Trudeau has a minority government. The majority of those on Parliament Hill in Ottawa stood to oppose and shoot down his state of emergency decree. Trudeau said, "No, we're gonna suspend Parliament for a week." And of course, if he can suspend it for a week, he can suspend it for a month or a year. It looks grim. It really does. It is frightening what Trudeau's getting away with. But all is not lost. It looks horrible, but all is not lost. The saddest part of all this, first of all, just overall from 30,000 feet, aka from America and the deep south from here, Trudeau's dictator-like attitude and actions and words are the most frightening aspect coming out of it all. The saddest, though unsurprisingly saddest part of all this is watching all the Canadian cops, whether it's provincial, local, or the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. I think it's their version of federal level police. Anyway, all the cops, all the Canadian cops, every one of them are Oathbreakers. They have what they did in Utah, ugly American here, Ottawa, is they massed hundreds and hundreds. I always get my angles wrong. Yeah, right here. They amassed literally maybe thousands of cops in Ottawa and have slowly been pushing everybody out. All the protesters, all the incredibly peaceful protesters. Because, bouncy castles and barbecues and dancing and big noisy trucks are evil. With the use of pepper spray and batons and riot gear and horses, they've slowly pushed almost all the protesters out of the capital of Canada. Oathbreakers, much like here in America, our cops you say an oath of office saying that you're going to protect and serve the people, not be lapdogs for tyrants. Now, I've seen at least a dozen little TikTok videos and short videos of cops saying how much they supported the truckers, the Freedom Convoy, and what these truckers are standing for. Multiple video after video saying, "We support you guys. We support you guys. We support you guys." Empty words. Every stinking syllable. Empty words. Because every one of these cops I'm seeing on multiple live streams in Ottawa are showing cops on horseback running people over, arresting people for peacefully assembling. They must just be in it for the paycheck, which I've said it multiple times before. I'll say it many times more. If you're just a cop for the paycheck, you're in the wrong business. It takes a special individual to be a good cop. Now, there have been a couple that have retired and joined with the truckers, and credit where credit's due. But the vast majority, 98% of these goons are in the wrong. Now, the picture, as I try to point correctly here, this screenshot I took was of a live stream of some goons, no identification, wearing green. The rumors, and they're just rumors, but I'll tell you what I've heard. They look like mercenaries. They look like guys that the government's hired on, saying, "Hey, we need to clear out these rabble rousers." And I looked at there's no names, no badges, no insignias to show who they're affiliated with. Another disheartening, as if I've got even more bad news for you. No. I've got what's very disheartening is comment after comment on a lot of these videos and a lot of the live chats. People are begging and asking, "Where's our William Wallace?" Referring to the famous slash infamous Scottish historical figure from Braveheart. He was a freedom fighter, and he ultimately failed. Everybody forgets about that part. No. Anyway, these Canadians are looking for their William Wallace. They need to quit looking for leaders. If a civil disobedience, a peaceful civil disobedience movement is going to happen, you can't wait for leaders. You can't wait for, "Well, I'm just waiting for somebody to show me what to do." It should be painfully obvious what to do. Just show up. Just be there. Be peaceful, but be there. And honk, eat some barbecue, dance, play some music. These Ottawa guys were shoveling the sidewalks, cleaning up after themselves. They clogged up downtown Ottawa, but they also ended up leaving lanes. Not all the streets were blocked off. They would leave at least one or two lanes on every major thoroughfare for ambulances or emergency services. So it wasn't like these truckers had this big city locked down. They were there and making their presence known, and Trudeau didn't like it. So he called in his Gestapo. Now, do not give up hope, because there's many other convoys. Trudeau's having to play whack-a-mole now. One of many British Columbia on the far side, on the other side of Canada, is starting a convoy, and they're heading to borders, and they're doing their due diligence towards civil disobedience, which is exactly what they need to be doing. Seeing innocent people getting pepper sprayed. They never brought out the pepper spray for BLM and Antifa. And I know it's a little apples to oranges because most if not all the big violence from 2020 and with all the race riots and whatnot and mostly peaceful protests were in America. BLM did have a pretty big presence in Canada, from what I've read, but nothing to the violent extent as in the larger cities down here in America. There's a definite double standard, of course. Now, let's talk about the American Freedom Convoy. It's quite disorganized, but that's a good thing. It needs to stay decentralized. Just like up in Ottawa, these leaders are being taken down one by one. If it's decentralized, and they don't have the head of the snake to cut off, so to speak. There is a huge contingent, huge convoy getting organized to roll from, I believe, San Diego, somewhere in California, all the way to Washington, D.C. And they're getting organized on Facebook, which is a huge facepalm. Because you guys do know that Facebook is in bed with the federal government. That they are watching each and every little comment that you make and every little post you make and every little honk you put up there. You're playing your cards, you're telegraphing your moves, and they're going to be waiting for you. My advice would be I would rather see convoys and hopefully somebody much smarter with much more resources than I've already thought about this. What they need to do is they need to go to Sacramento, California. They need to go to Albany, New York. They need to go to Chicago. They need to go to these large urban centers that are still in lockdown, that are still that have still grabbed up power and do exactly what they've been doing up in Ottawa. Peacefully protesting, just occupying and cleaning up after themselves and getting the bouncy castles out and just making their presence known and being a general nuisance. Nonviolent, peaceful nuisance. All is not lost. It's ugly up in Ottawa right now, and a lot of people I'm sure Trudeau thinks that the movement's been broken, and I'm sure a lot of people within the movement are disheartened, and I can't blame them. But we outnumber them. The sheer gall of Trudeau. Also nicknamed Brett Weinstein, nicknamed him the duplicitous Ken doll. I love that nickname. He has seized the reins of power indefinitely. Quote unquote, he wants to give the police force more tools in their toolbox. And of course, he has threatened, I'm not sure if he's gone through with it yet, threatened to freeze bank accounts to any and all people that he deems are a nuisance. They've been jacking with what is it? The GoFundMe platform. The GoFundMe platform was quick to kiss that jackboot, and started. That was the first crowdfunding platform that the Freedom Convoy in Ottawa first used, foolishly, because they cratered quickly to probably very little pressure, and first froze the account. And they said, okay, no, we're going to give. They had almost $10 million US in their account for the truckers to use towards food and fuel and whatever they need. And then GoFundMe said, "Oh, hold on, no, we will unfreeze the account, but we're gonna make sure all that money goes to charities that we approve." And then there was a huge uproar and backlash, and they said, "Oh, okay, well, we're going to change our mind there." And then they said, "What was it? It was just they were just screwing up left and right and left and right." And many lawsuits, I'm sure, are in the works towards that company. So the truckers went to Give, Send, Go, a Christian-based crowdfunding website platform, and they have summarily been hacked and jacked with there. So these poor guys are catching it from every angle. These idiots, the hackers and the goons and the elites and people actually supporting the authoritarianism, they forget that these are truckers. These are salt of the earth, middle class, blue collar, hard-working guys and gals. They're resilient. There's a reason why they're still around. And there's a reason why they've made it as far in life as they have. And it's not going to stop them. Back to America and what the truckers hope to accomplish here. I've heard too many outcries of a general strike. You can't do a general strike. Canada is almost easy in comparison to the United States down here when it comes to organizing a convoy and blockades and border strikes and things like that. America is huge in comparison. The highways up in Canada, there's only a few major highways. It's just too complicated to do anything coast to coast organizationally. It's like herding cats. You're not going to be able to get a sufficient amount of trucks in America to do a general strike, to put any kind of economic or commercial pressure on those in power, because people would be starving and food would be running out. The shelves would be emptying out too quickly, and the hospitals wouldn't be able to get their medicine and their medical equipment soon enough. Which is a good thing that they couldn't be able to do that, even if they wanted to. And there are some foolish cries for a general strike. General strike would not fly. Like I said, you could boycott deliveries to and from New York and California. Chicago's a big one. Philly is another big one. You could do you could do some targeting, boycotting there, if enough. See, America literally has hundreds, if not thousands, of trucking companies, and if one trucking company is going to boycott, another trucking company is just going to come in there to make their buck, and I don't blame them. So you would have to get a majority of trucking companies and truckers, of course, to agree to be on the same page, and I just don't see that happening. Another idea that was floated out there that might be intriguing is do a convoy down to the southern border. You would need to blockade San Diego, El Paso, Brownsville, to send a message about immigration that way. See, the beauty of the Canadian civil disobedience is they made their message simple and clear in the mandates. There are truckers up there that are vaxxed, some aren't, most are, but they were in accord with one message in the mandates. That's all it is, in the mandates. The COVID passports and coming to and from the borders and things like that, it was a nice, simple, clean message. You can't confuse that, though the media has done their best to try to do that. Down here in America, man, just a couple years ago, we couldn't even agree on what color the damn dress was, if you remember that internet meme. So I don't see how you could get. It has to be loosely organized. Like I mentioned before, it can't be a top-down movement. It needs to be a bottom-up movement. And I just don't see how you could get enough manpower and trucks organized. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. I just don't see the logistics behind it. I don't see how that's doable at all. You might be able to do the targeting. Sacramento, Albany's the first two cities that come to mind. Maybe the border. With D.C., ever since 9/11 and January 6th, I wouldn't go anywhere near D.C. if I was still driving over the road. It looks too much like a trap. If they were to take the grandmothers that happened to wander into the state capitol after the cops open the doors and wave them in, if they're going to charge them, little grandmothers, wandering around taking selfies and just oohing and ahhing about the interior of the Capitol, what do you think they're going to do to a trucker? All is not lost. We outnumber them. We will need to hit them in the pocketbook one way or another, peacefully. Be a nuisance. Civil disobedience works. Look at the civil rights movement in the South. Look at the Eastern Bloc nations of Russia with Václav. I always mispronounce his name. Has to be peaceful, and but you need more manpower, and you need a little organization, but not too much. You got to ride that razor's edge to get it to work. And for crying out loud, truckers, get off of Facebook. You need to go to different platforms. You need to, if anything, just use your CBs and organize locally. You know, if you want to take a convoy from this city, get on the horn, talk to your guys, bring a few guys to get to the next city, then get on the horn, pick up a few other guys, and with some goal of heading to the border or heading to Albany or Atlanta or one of these huge blue metropolitan areas to make to voice your complaints. And quit waiting for William Wallace to show up. So there.